It's chilling winter night in Acham, Nepal. 14-year-old Sita sits curled up in a small dimly lit shed. No blanket, no warmth, no comfort. She's not here by choice. She's here because she's menstruating, and her community believes her presence in the home would bring bad luck and anger the gods. For 3 nights, she will endure the biting cold, risking snake bites, suffocation, and even her life, all because of Chhaupadi, an ancient tradition still practiced in parts of Nepal. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a fascinating yet often unspoken topic: menstruation across different cultures. How do people around the world view periods? From rituals to restrictions, celebrations to stigmas, the stories are as diverse as the cultures themselves. Let's explore this, backed by real life examples and research. In sub-Saharan Africa, menstruation isn't just a biological event, it can be a barrier to education. A 2014 UNESCO report found that 10% of girls in the region miss school during their periods due to lack of resources and stigma. Take Ghana for instance. 95% of girls in rural areas report missing school, with some using improvised materials like rags or leaves. As one 14-year-old shared with researchers, "I didn't go to school because I feared bloodstains and embarrassment." But it's not all grim. In Zambia, for example, Menaki, or the first period, is marked with traditional initiation rites. Older women mentor girls, preparing them for adulthood. This sounds empowering, but menstruation is looked upon as a sign that girl is probably ready for sex and marriage, as well as for adult duties in the household, which has its own societal implications. Traditionally, it's taboo to talk about menstruation with men or to learn from one's own mother. In South Asia, periods are seen through a complex lens of purity and taboo. Let's start with India. In many regions, a girl's first period is celebrated with joy. In South India, the Ritukala Samskaram marks menarche with gifts, new clothes, and blessings. It is seen as a positive transition into womanhood. According to a 2018 study, 42% of women in rural India weren't aware of sanitary pads before their first period, while 88% of menstruating women use unsafe alternatives to sanitary pads such as old fabrics, rags, sands, wood savings, and newspapers. Contrast this with Nepal, where the practice of Chhaupadi continues to cast a long shadow over women's lives, especially in rural areas like the Acham and the Lake districts. Despite being banned in 2005, 84% of adolescent girls in those districts still followed the custom during their last menstruation, according to a survey done in 2019. Chhaupadi affects more girls aged 15 to 17, particularly those from nuclear families or with illiterate mothers. And this isn't just a cultural inconvenience, it's a daily practice. A 2019 report by National Human Rights Commission revealed that 15 women and girls lost their lives in chow sets over 13 years in Assam and Delhi alone. These huts, meant for isolation, often expose women to freezing temperatures, smoke inhalation from fires, and even attacks by wild animals. Yet, law enforcement struggles to act. Not a single complaint had been filed with local police in these districts by 2019, even though officers acknowledge the risks. Government and activists have tried to intervene, but centuries-old taboos and fears run deep. For some communities, Chhaupadi is seen as tradition, while for others, it is a form of systemic neglect. This raises the question: how do we preserve cultural identity while ensuring safety and dignity for all? In Indonesia, menstrual taboos are deeply ingrained in religious and cultural practices. Women in Bali, for instance, are barred from entering temples or even cooking for their families while menstruating. Many describe this as a time of rest, but others see it as exclusion. In Sumba, Indonesia, women have a unique way of thinking about menstruation. They keep their periods a secret, believing that this helps them have control over men. There are also strict rules about not having sex during menstruation. People believe that sexually transmitted diseases come from women deceiving men during their period. In this community, menstruation is seen as a way for women to hold power and control in their relationships. Isn't this interesting? These ideas about menstruation shape how women and men see each other in Sumba, with a mix of control, secrecy, and tradition. Let's shift gears to the West. In the past, Native American Yurok women in Northern California practiced menstrual seclusion. For them, menstruation was a time for spiritual renewal. Aristocratic women, the women of higher social class, in particular, would celebrate their periods with 10 days of rituals, which gave them prestige and spiritual power. However, common women didn't have the same privileges. Today, in modern America, there's still a stigma around menstruation. In fact, a 2018 survey showed that 60% of women feel embarrassed about their periods. Meanwhile, Scotland has become a global leader in menstrual equity. Ending period poverty bill was approved in November 2020. In 2020, it became the first country to provide free period products by law, a huge step forward for breaking the stigma. Did you know there's a festival that celebrates menstruation? At the Kamakhya temple in Assam, India, the goddess is believed to menstruate during Ambubachi Mela. The temple closes for 3 days and devotees receive fragments of a red stained cloth symbolizing her cycle. This ancient tradition flips the narrative, celebrating periods as divine. Across the world, periods remain a mix of celebration and challenge. Whether it's young girls missing school in rural Ghana, laws tackling period poverty in Scotland, or isolation huts in Nepal, these stories show that we have a long way to go in achieving menstrual equality and dignity. A 2021 study in The Lancet highlighted that over 500 million women globally lack adequate menstrual hygiene resources. This isn't just a women's issue, it's a human rights issue. Menstruation isn't just a biological process, it's a cultural story, a human experience, and a fight for equality. Which story surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to help us break the stigma. See you next time.